Schools here with your December 10th, 2024 board recap. We convened the meeting at 5:32 by Chair LeGrand. Our very first topic was to swear in our newest member of the board, Ross Tomlin, who's now going to be representing the Zone 6 of the Ben Lopine School District boundaries, which is an at-large zone. And so we're glad to welcome Ross to the board. That brings us up to full staff, if you will, again. We've now got 7 board members again. Our next item was to do a district recognition, which was to recognize one of our students, Allie Campbell, 8th grade student at Cascade Middle School, was recognized for an Above and Beyond the Call of Duty award for her actions to stop a bullying incident that happened on one of our buses. It was a tremendous opportunity to draw attention to the positive behavior. She intervened at the right moment to stop a bullying incident when there were adults that couldn't be in that space in that moment at that time. And we were just so proud of her behavior, her actions to stop that and interrupt that action at that moment. It was very, very moving to have her share the story, to have her parents up here and get a photo with her, and we celebrate her actions. We're very proud of her. We had 3 members of the Student Advisory Council report on their work as a member. From Bend High, we had Iris Marshall, and from Summit High, we had Cooper Ockery and Finn Howell, both from Summit. They were focusing on this year's work, which is they want to tend to the bias incident reporting system, mental health supports, and making sure college readiness is a priority for the Student Voice Council. After that, we went into consent agenda. We had public comment. We had several public commenters. 2 of them were here talking about gun storage and gun safety, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And then another group of public commenters talking about after-school programming called BEAM and the supports that they offer to neurodivergent students and the ways that they can support those students in those programs. The consent agenda passed 7-0. Which also included, by the way, another piece of property that we're going into an agreement with Habitat for Humanity to provide workforce housing specifically focused on our staff and providing affordable housing for our staff if they're so interested. After the consent for information, which was a bunch of policies, also a report on Executive Limitation 4.6, which was our child nutrition report, which talks specifically about many of the things that we're doing this year. And remember, this is the first year in which we're feeding every single student that wants a hot lunch, hot breakfast every day, where we can do that for free. We also have a list of policies that you can check out on the website that we're promoting and pushing out to implement this month. After that, we had 2 reports. The first one was from High Desert ESD, the Director of Alternative Learning Options and Charter Schools, presented to us by Dr. Laura Nordquist. And those alternative learning organizations, COIC, JBAR-J, Bend International Academy, Desert Sky Montessori, and Heart of Oregon were the reports that we heard from tonight, with a specific focus on JBAR-J. And Keith Riggs, the academic director, did a little deeper dive in that. JBAR-J supports adjudicated students. Roughly 100 students last year went through their pathways, and how those students, during their time of adjudication, how they're supporting their academic needs and getting them caught up, or getting them credits, or possibly giving them opportunities to complete their GED. The other report we had was the annual compensation, development, evaluation, and treatment of employees report, which is Executive Limitation 4.2. I was presented to the board by our Chief Human Resources Officer, Steve Heron, who did a wonderful job of talking about all the decisions that go in running the district and how we staff, how we are diversifying leadership roles and administrative roles in the district for putting more women into those roles as we expand opportunities for our staff. That staffing conversation was kind of the highlight, took a majority of the time for tonight, and lots of data on that report. Please go on our website to see that data as a part of that presentation. We then went into quite a few action items. I think we had 5 action items. The first was to approve the recommended appointment of Natasha McFarland and Seth Eisenberg back to our budget committee for 3-year terms. That all of these items that I'm about to share with you were passed and approved by the board in a unanimous decision. The second action item was to appoint Laura Danzuka, I think she's the board chair at Jefferson County School District, to the OSBA Board of Directors position 3, representing Central Oregon. The third one was to approve OSBA's due schedule, which is on a pathway to elevate over the next 10 years, I believe, to go up, increase in costs to meet those financial demands that OSBA has to resolve. The fourth action item was to approve, actually the fourth and fifth approval was to approve recommended bylaw changes on both constituencies of the Board of Directors for OSBA, and then also to approve their current bylaws for OSBA for the upcoming year. Then we had an administrative policy and report. We had a bunch of administrative policies and regulations that'll be going out for feedback. If you haven't seen those, please check on our Family Spotlight. Those live, and in our Staff Spotlight, those live on those documents so you can see what those reports that are going out. The superintendent's report followed that. There were 3 items I wanted to report on. We continue to finish up the after action report on Pilot Butte Middle School. We'll be reporting on that after action at the January board meeting. You'll see us presenting that information in areas where the district could actually improve our systems of support. And the second item was SPED stipends, which this was allocated from the legislative session last year, in which $8.9 million were allocated to be distributed amongst SPED staff that spend 75% of their time working with students, whether that's certified, classified, administrative. That money was allocated from the state directly into a pot, if you will, that would then go to stipends for those special education staff. We're in the process right now of getting that list collected, and that will be returned or reported to the state mid-January, and those stipends will then be allocated in May. One note on that is the $8.9 million that is allocated to staff does not include associated costs, so districts are going to have to cover that cost. And for us, that's about $250,000 to $300,000 if based on first come, first serve, if everybody applies for that. So the second thing the third thing was I asked Dan Emerson, our Chief Financial Officer, to come up and talk a little bit about the stop of using UKG on our time and leave management system, and until we can resolve the complexities of that system and the problems that we're having, to talk a little bit about doing a paper time and leave and what that would look like, and making sure that we are getting everybody paid using this new system. And Dan presented that to our board with a commitment that we will find what's the problem and make sure that that gets resolved. The board members then had their director comments, and we adjourned the meeting at 7:55. This was a lot of important information on this meeting, quite a bit of time, as our last meeting was pretty short. Our next district board meeting, in which we're handling district business, is scheduled for January 14th, 2025. This is Dr. Cook with our board meeting recap. Thanks, and have a great day.